Emil, your lead designer, was talking about how many endings you guys were tossing around for the game. Now that everything's kind of more solidified, have the number of endings in this game been finalized? When you again, it was I think the number tossed around was somewhere around a dozen last year when you were first starting to talk about it. So how's that coming along, that part of the project?
Being that we are Bethesda, everything gets a bit big, so as of last week, we're over 200 endings. That is not an exaggeration, but it does deserve some description.
Okay,
so,
please.
Yeah,
you're like, 200 endings, that's a lie of some kind.
Nonsense.
So, originally when we started, we had, there are various iterations of the ending, and the ending is kind of a cinematic that's dynamic based on the things you've done, and when we started, it was fuzzy. We're like, well, there's at least 9, there's maybe 12. And we kind of kept adding things to it, so, if you had done this or not this, you'd get this other, tweak to the ending. And we kept doing that. And, even just 2 weeks ago, right, someone had this idea like, oh, it'd be great for a final shot of the ending. We're like, this kind of thing. And I can't spoil it, obviously. And we're like, oh, that's a genius idea. We have to do that. But then it became, oh yeah, but there are 4 versions of that. I'm like, okay, so all right, there are 4 versions of just that little part. Okay, well that multiplies. At the time we were at 60 endings. So like, okay, now we have 60. Now there's 4 versions of that. So now there's 204. So it gets kind of stupid.
I think I'm beginning to understand why Bethesda usually is, good for a 3-4 year development cycle.
The games on paper when they start on paper are a lot smaller, and then just we can't stop ourselves. And there's we're pretty flat as far as creatively. Tons of people are here with great ideas, and if we think they're good and they fit the tone, we're going to try to jam as much in the game as possible. And so that's what Fallout's probably twice the size that we originally had on paper, like the entire game. It's pretty big. So that's happened with the endings. So some of that stuff are the big things that you do very late in the game. Mm-hmm. Some of those are things like your karma, how you've lived your life from the beginning of the game. You'll get certain scenes based on your karma. But we kind of like the ending as much as like the game itself in the beginning is you tailoring your character, and then you play throughout this game. And unlike the Elder Scrolls, where it's a game where you can keep playing, Fallout 3 has a definite ending.
Right.
We felt pretty strongly that, well, what efforts can we go to make the actual ending that you get when you finish, you get the achievement, you put your controller down, what are you going to see? And as much as we can, make that ending reflect, make it as individual to you as we can. So we've definitely gone overboard.